Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another video review brought to you as always by myself, Timmy Garrett of Bridgeburner Gaming, and as per usual in association with our super glorious best friends over at fishmonkeyproductions.com. Now, Resident Evil has had a roller coaster of a ride in terms of the quality of the games associated with the franchise over the years. Most people can agree that Resis 1 through 4 were absolutely groundbreaking masterpieces, pushing the survival horror genre into places never thought possible. 5 was then generally criticised as a step back for the series, as it focused too much on action rather than horror. I personally really liked it. And then there was 6. Well, the less said about that hot piece of trash, the better.
Listen, little girl, if you haven't noticed.
So with that short history lesson out the way, it was way back in 2002 when the original Resident Evil was given a mind-blowing remake on the GameCube, probably to get the hype train rolling for the eventual release of Resi 4. And it was met with very, very positive critical acclaim, so it comes as no surprise that another Resident Evil game running on the same engine was released roughly a year later. However, rather than continuing the story of the franchise, Zero took players back to the beginning of the series, acting as a prequel, being set mere hours before the events of Resident Evil 1. Recently, the Resident Evil 1 remake was re-released as a remake of a remake. If you wanted alliteration, you have come to the right channel, and it sold gangbusters. Tying that in with the fact that Capcom have been teasing and asking what fans would want from a Resident Evil 2 remake, surprise surprise, we want it to be like the Resi 1 remake, it comes as no big shock that it was soon announced that they would be giving Resident Evil 0 a similar re-release to that of the first game. In it, and like a lot of other games in the franchise, you take control of 2 characters. Players of the first game will already be familiar with rookie member of STAR's Bravo team Rebecca Chambers, and there is also ex-Second Lieutenant US Marine Billy Cohen, who is an escaped prisoner and on death row. After certain events conspire, fate brings these 2 characters together, and it is here in this game mechanic that Resident Evil 0 sets itself apart from any of the other games that came before it. As I mentioned, most other Resident Evil games give you the opportunity to play as different characters. However, for the most part, this was handled by incorporating different scenarios for the player to choose from at the beginning of the game, or just character selection like in Resident Evil 1. This time, however, you are free to switch between Billy and Rebecca on the fly in real time. Both characters have their own sets of abilities to help them through this nightmarish adventure. For example, Billy, being the manly man that he is, I mean, you did see that tribal tattoo, right? Can move heavy objects, and Rebecca, being the medic, can mix chemicals and herbs. The character switching also lends itself to create some very challenging and obtuse puzzles. For the most part, these work well and will require only a small amount of head scratching, but beware, they do get pretty complex by the end of the game, often requiring your characters to be doing 2 entirely different things in entirely different locations. However, it is a fun gimmick, and for the most part it works well. Another big change that Zero brought forth was the fact that both characters can drop any item from their inventory at any time. They then stay in that location until you either have the space or the need for said item or weapon. Although this may not sound like a big deal to the uninitiated, any Resident Evil aficionado can attest to the monotonous slog that is constantly having to return to item boxes just to jig around your stockpile of weapons, items and ammunition. This definitely helps save valuable time. There are, however, a couple of places in which Zero stumbles. The story and antagonist in Zero just aren't that great or interesting. We never get enemies who feel as threatening or as interesting as the Tyrant, Birkin or even Nemesis, and the mansion/facility you end up infiltrating just doesn't capture the same amount of sinister threat or character that the original Spencer Mansion did, or even the Raccoon City Police Department for that matter. That being said, the opening hour or so of the game, which is set on the Ecliptic Express, still remains to this day one of my favourite set pieces of the Resident Evil franchise to date. Tense, claustrophobic and genuinely terrifying, this train ride is one that is sure to get its claws into you and stay with you whenever you think about this game. So, in conclusion, I guess it goes without saying that I wholeheartedly recommend this game. Even if you have played it before, this really is a great game to revisit. Although it never reaches the heights in terms of quality that the original trilogy achieved, it still is an incredibly enjoyable and challenging survival horror game. It also goes without saying that it stands head and shoulders above some of the lower points of the series. Again, 6, I'm looking straight at you. So, there you go everyone, that was my Resident Evil 0 remake or remastered review, whichever one you want to call it. And I just wanted to say again, thank you all so much for all the support you've all been showing me recently. All the new subscribers have been really friendly and really welcoming. I do have some new things lined up in the future for the channel. I've just got some new equipment and stuff ordered, so hopefully I'll be able to start getting out more videos and stuff quicker in the future. Please, as always, remember I do a podcast with my friend Matt Wilson, who runs fishmonkeyproductions.com, and that is Chit Chat with Tim and Matt, and we do that once a week. And we also have our Facebook pages, which is Fish Monkey Productions and Bridgeburner Gaming. So thank you very much again, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Okay, bye, 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 bye.